Hey guys, welcome back to KCF Conversations. Today I'm joined by Lauren Malone.
Hi.
Hi, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you.
So Lauren, how long have you been with us here at Kitsap CrossFit?
So I started in July of 2018, so a year and a half.
Okay,
Does that sound right?
awesome.
Yeah, year and a half.
And when you came in, you had CrossFit experience.
Yes, about 6 months.
About 6
Yeah,
months.
actually
okay.
my 2-year CrossFit anniversary is like tomorrow or
Oh
something
wow,
like that.
Wow,
Yeah.
That was a very timely interview.
Right.
Then. Okay. And where was it that you started CrossFit before?
I was at Centennial CrossFit in Colorado.
In Colorado.
Yeah.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
cool. Now, but that wasn't the start of your athletic career, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have a fair amount of fitness background prior to CrossFit. So what did you do prior to CrossFit?
How far back do you want to go, Dan?
How far back do we need to go?
So I grew up in a very athletic household.
Okay.
My parents, actually my mom and dad and my mom and stepdad met playing sports.
Oh, wow.
And so my family, we did soccer, we did softball, all those things. My mom coached at the youth Olympic development level, worked for the soccer office. My first job was as a referee.
Oh, wow.
My sister played at the highest level, played through high school, all that kind of stuff. And I was the least athletic of my whole family. Super not athletic, not coordinated, not fast. I was the geeky, nerdy theater girl in the household. So I had a lot of athletic background, but none of it was like awesome, right? And then when I was in 8th grade, I developed a voice disorder and I had to stop singing.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And I was lost. I just didn't know what to do with myself because musical theater had been my life. I wanted to be an actress when I grew up, and now all of a sudden I didn't have my voice anymore. So a couple years later, I got into martial arts.
Okay.
And that was sort of, it was like my second love right after theater.
Okay.
And
What type of martial arts?
it was Taekwondo initially, like a mixed. Really, it was in the back of this Oklahoma gym, and it was like this big dude who was like an ex-bouncer, and he was huge, and he did like a Taekwondo karate mix. It was like
Okay.
we just went in the back of the gym and kicked the crap out of each other, and I threw in some forms so that it seemed official.
And went hiya every once in a while.
Exactly.
There you go.
Yeah. And then when we moved back to Colorado, my husband and I, we moved back to Colorado. I started studying ninjutsu, and that was kind of, so I had been studying Taekwondo. We moved back. I was at a Taekwondo dojo, and a flyer came in for a stunt team. And I was like, well, I have theater experience, and I have this martial arts experience. Maybe I could sort of regain some of that love of performing that I had lost if I did some stunts. So I tried out for the team, made the team, and then that was like all I did for the next 6 or 7 years. So I joined the stunt team, and then the studio where the stunt team was housed also had a ninjutsu dojo. And so eventually I sort of worked in the front office. I taught adult swordsmanship classes. I ran the kids program. I had a business traveling around to different preschools and daycares and stuff, teaching martial arts to kids.
Wow.
And then I did film.
Okay.
So that was kind of like, all of a sudden my life was all athletics.
So you went from not being very athletic to becoming a ninja.
Yes. Yeah, becoming a ninja.
Right. Becoming a ninja.
Yeah.
Not many people can say they know a ninja.
Well, no. There you go.
Okay, so which leads us to something else that's very interesting about your background in history, film. So talking about film, you're a movie star.
I have done a movie, and
Okay.
I have starred in a movie.
That
so
makes
if
you
that
a
makes
movie
me
star.
a movie star, then
A
I'm
movie
in.
star and a ninja.
Yes, kind of.
That's 2 boxes that
interesting
most people would
background.
like to check.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about your movie background.
So I started in 2004 with the stunt team, and it was a really amazing place because we had stunt performers, but our instructor, our stunt coach, had done stunt coordination. He had done some prosthetic makeup stuff, and he just sort of slowly started meeting people in the film community until we had built up this team of people who could do anything. And because not every independent film calls for stunts, we had to become very multi-purpose also. So I picked up special effects makeup and production photography, and so I could do those on set too. And all of us were just sort of these little jack of all trades within the film world. And so eventually Mark, the man that was our stunt coach, said, like, why don't we make our own movie? Why are we doing everybody else's movies? We can do it all, right? So he decided to do a fantasy film. Like, I guess you're just going to go big with your first one. You're not going to pick something easy. You're going to go full force. We had a guy who owned some property up in the mountains, and so we had just acres and acres of foresty playground, and we just made a movie one summer. It was probably one of the more intense experiences of my life. I was also the head of the special effects makeup department. In addition to being a performer, I was one of the leads, and I did stunt work kind of in all the scenes where we needed somebody in a mask, So we were really busy. It was like 14, 15, 16-hour days all summer long just trying to get this movie made. But now it's on Amazon.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
And the name of it is?
Kind of long, sorry. Gathering of Heroes, Legend of the Seven Swords.
Gathering of Heroes, Legends of the Seven Swords.
Yeah,
and it's on Amazon.
Yeah, it's on Prime, so you can watch it for free if you're
nice.
Prime
Maybe we should have a big viewing party.
Oh my
something.
gosh. It is decidedly B, C, D. I mean, we didn't have any money. We were just trying to prove we could make a movie. So it was super fun to make, and there was a lot of good things about it, but it's like not the world's best movie ever.
But a movie star nonetheless on Amazon.
Cool. Yeah.
Not many people can say that.
Right.
And a ninja.
And a ninja. But that was sort of the end of my movie career. I got done with that, and
for now.
We'll see what happens later. But we'll talk about that because it was really interesting. I finished the movie. I hadn't seen my husband all summer long, and we kind of sat down, and I said, like, okay, we're going to do this, or I'm going to be done. So we're either going to move to LA, and I'm going to just go 100% into the film industry and stop this, like, middle ground I've got going, or I just have to be done. And he said, I will follow you to LA if that is your dream. I will do it. But I hate LA. And I was like, I don't know if I can live this life. And we couldn't really have kids. A lot of people do, but I thought, like, man, if I'm doing stunts and I'm away all the time, how am I going to have a family? So I just stopped and started school and had a baby that year. I'll just start college and have a baby at the same time. It'll be fine. And yeah, went to school to be a speech language pathologist.
Nice. And which is what you're doing now?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, crazy past, right? Fast forward, now you're here in Poulsbo in Kitsap County, and you show up at Kitsap CrossFit.
Yeah.
Yeah. How was that?
So I cheated a little bit. I looked up CrossFit gyms before I came because I knew that was
as you
something
should.
I wanted to do.
I think it's a good idea.
Yeah, it was good to do the research, and of course, Kitsap CrossFit came very highly recommended. It is a huge part of the community out here. I went on the Poulsbo Moms Facebook page.
Oh, didn't know there was one.
There is
one.
one.
I assume there should be, but yes,
there is.
I didn't know.
And I literally typed in, I'm moving out this summer. I like CrossFit, board games, and beer, and I need friends. And Janae was like, I like those things, I'll be your friend. By the way, come to Kitsap CrossFit. So I think I watched like every YouTube video that there was that you guys had put out, and I watched the website for it. I was like, yeah, I think this could be a pretty cool place. So I had like a blind CrossFit date with Janae here at the gym.
Oh, did you really?
I did.
Oh, I did
yeah,
not know
that.
that.
Was my first
That's
time.
too funny.
Here, so and I just fell in love with it right away. It was very, I don't know, it just felt like home really fast. And the community here is so amazing. I started making friends right away, and I really think it helped ease that transition, moving from Colorado out here.
Yeah, that can be tough. And it's a small community here, so it's very friendly, but it can also be hard to like just fit in when you're new, not from the area, trying to come into a new environment. So I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah.
So you come in and kind of doing the CrossFit thing, but at some point in the time that you've been here, sort of your focus has shifted a little bit, right? So tell us a little bit about what you're focusing on now.
Sure. Well, I did my first throwdown last April, and that was super fun. So I highly recommend that experience. But as soon as it was over, it was sort of like, okay, well, so now what? And Viking Fest was coming up. And there's a strongman competition every year at Biking Fest. And I thought, well, Atlas stones are like my favorite thing in all of CrossFit. And I like flipping tires and I like all the strongman stuff. I think I'll go try this competition. So I did. And there were like 9 women in my division and I got my butt kicked. I think I got like 8th place. It was awesome. I went like, oh my gosh, like I already felt fairly fit. I mean, I had been CrossFitting for a year, so I wasn't like some kind of games athlete or anything, but I felt pretty fit. And these women mopped the floor with me. I was like, they are so strong. I want to be that strong. Okay, man, I'm gonna have to work a lot harder if I want to do well in these. And so I decided I wanted to try to do some strongman.
Okay.
I had 2 injuries. Pretty shortly after I moved here, I had a hip injury. I think it started with my pregnancy with my son. The hip just wasn't moving right, and then like the high reps and some muscle imbalances that I had from my stunt days. I'm just kind of an amalgamation of things. And then I ended up with kind of like a labral. It wasn't a tear, I don't think, but just an irritation. And so I was on modified movements for a good chunk of last winter. And then that was better just in time for my first throwdown. And then I was training for strongman. Actually, it wasn't even training for strongman. We were doing a strongman workout in the gym and I was tired, but I was being egotistical and I hadn't picked up this stone that I knew I could pick up that day. And I was like, I'm picking this thing up, blah, blah, blah. And I heard this like clicking noise in my back when I picked it up and I thought, oh, that was not good. I think I hurt something. And it was a muscle strain, which would have been no big deal if I had rested and listened to my support team, but I did not. And so got through the strongman and then started increasing my volume with an eye towards maybe competing in the summer. And the back injury just flared up. And it was like not having the weight volume. Like it just wasn't okay with that.
Right.
So I went to PT and went back on movement modifications all summer, and I sort of had to step back at that point and say, okay, my whole life, be it in martial arts, be it in stunts, I had this attitude of like push, 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 go, go, go. And here was a situation where I had sort of jumped into strongman, and it wasn't that my body wasn't already fit, because CrossFit really had prepared me very well, but it's a different animal.
It is.
Yeah, and
absolutely.
I had not taken the time to safely build the strength base that I needed to handle the volume at that weight.
Right.
So we don't really do the same heavy weights as frequently in CrossFit.
Right.
Like you might do a heavy day or a couple of heavy days and then you're done for a few days. But when you're consistently lifting at that kind of volume, I just didn't have the supporting muscles in place to be able to do that. So I stepped back and I said, okay, if I'm going to do this, I have to do it right this time. And I have to just build from the ground up. And so I went to Mike and I said, could you write me some strength programming with a goal towards getting me ready to start competing in strongman? So I think it was like a week after I was off of modifications for my back, I was back in the gym. And so that's kind of where I've been at for the last 3 months. I just finished a 12-week block, and then I started a new block.
So you just finished 12 weeks of dedicated training, so you're still doing CrossFit.
Yes.
Right? And then you're doing your kind of accessory strength training, strongman training under Mike's tutelage. Okay. And how'd that go for you?
It was awesome. He is such a caring coach, and I think, so Kara is my PT, so having the two of them together, first of all, I get away with nothing.
Yes.
If I am moving wrong or injured or something, I'm like, people are going to find out. But second of all, he just knows how to modify. If I say like, oh, this kind of was bugging my back, he'll rewrite to kind of scale it for the next week. And he's just so knowledgeable about strength training in general. So in 3 months, I put 15 pounds onto my back squat, 15 pounds onto my bench, and at least 10 onto my deadlift, which was pretty good jumps for me because I was already, lifting pretty decent weights.
Right.
So, but more than that, I just feel like overall stronger and more stable. I was doing kind of big D-ball carries the other day, and Carol saw me, and she's like, you were upright. There was no arch. And I know that's because I have taken the time that I'm supposed to build up that core and build up all those stabilizing muscles. I'm squatting without pain. I'm able to do a lot of stuff.
Yeah. I mean, that's pretty impressive to go in a matter of 3 months to go, not just, I mean, because you went for a span of time not being able to lift any heavy weights or put yourself in those types of positions at all because of your back injury. And then you jump right back in, and in 3 months, not only back to doing things, but you're doing them with more load than you did previously and in better positions.
Yes.
Right. So that's really, really important. And what that's going to do is just lay a foundation for you to continue building on that in a safe manner.
Yes.
Right.
Well, and if you look out a year, so from my hip injury when I wasn't squatting at all, I've added 60 pounds to my back squat in a year. So, I mean, really taking the time. And for me, I think for the squat specifically, core was the key. I neglected a lot of like the accessory work and core work. Like I'd come into the gym and I'd work really hard on the WOD, and then I'd be like, oh, I'll probably be in tomorrow, or I'm tired. I think I'll skip that last little bit of abs at the end. You can't do that. You gotta do the whole thing.
Right. Yes. And sort of toward the end of your training cycle that you were working through, you put a post on Facebook that really caught my attention, and it was really about body image. One of the common things that we hear in CrossFit, we hear a lot of women say, oh, I don't want to do that because I'll get too bulky. And so we spend a lot of time talking people off the ledge, like, no, you won't get bulky. You will add some muscle mass, but you won't get bulky. And so we're trying to talk people out of that idea. And what was interesting about your post was that you were like, hey, I'm hoping to get bulky. Like, look at me. I've been working hard to get bulky.
Yeah.
Right. And so tell me about that. Is that a new desire for you, or was it something that you've always wanted to do? Like, I want to add a bunch of muscle mass, or were you one of those that was previously worried about becoming bulky?
I think it's a little of both. So when I first saw CrossFit, one of the things that drew me to it was the physique of the women. Coming from my stunt background, where there was a lot of pressure to be very, very thin, I don't have a great body type for that. It takes me monumental effort to look the way that I looked in the movie and to maintain that. And so for me, a lot of times it's felt like an unattainable goal. I've always built muscle a little bit easier, and so when I looked at the women who do like games level CrossFit, I thought, like, that's a physique. I could aspire to that physique. Like, I will never look like a 6 foot tall. I'm 5'1" if you round up. I will never be a 6 foot tall waif supermodel. It's not my body type, but I could look like Cara Saunders. Like, maybe not quite like that big. She's pretty amazing, but that kind of physique felt attainable to me.
Right.
And so I don't think I had the same resistance per se, but I definitely didn't start CrossFit with an idea that I was going to bulk up.
Right.
I think I started with a similar goal to everybody else, which is, or not everybody, but a lot of people that come in to lose weight and lose fat and get the 6-pack abs, and so I lost weight actually when I first started CrossFit, and right before my first throwdown was the lightest I had been since my pre-pregnancies.
Okay.
It wasn't quite as low as I was for filmmaking, but it was starting to get pretty close to that, and so I didn't set out into strongman or into strength training with a goal towards gaining weight, but it started happening pretty fast. And I remember I was at some kind of KCF function, and we were eating tacos or something like that, and I had my taco, and I'm sitting there, and Mike looks at me, and he goes, "Is that all you're going to eat?" And I was like, "Oh, yeah." And he goes, "If you want to gain some muscle, you better eat, girl. Like, you got to eat." And that was like such a shift for me. I'm like, I've got to eat. Like, I've been thinking so much about the past few years about not eating and like what I can't eat. And so the shift over to like, you got to eat to fuel the muscle you're trying. You have to give your body what it needs if you want to get stronger. And the scale started going up and up and up and up. And I'm like, okay, whoa. I don't know. This is kind of scary. I'm seeing, the scale go in the opposite direction. And it hasn't been easy. It was a lot more psychologically difficult, I think, than I was expecting, because there is such pressure to lose weight. And You know, you and I had talked about the story of when I went to the chiropractor and told him I was doing CrossFit. This was not here in Washington. This was in Colorado. And he told me, oh, honey, you don't want to do that stuff. If you want to lose some weight, you better just go get some jazzercise or some aerobics or something like that. There's an assumption that if a woman is at a gym, it's because she wants to lose weight.
Right.
And if you're doing it right, the scale's going down. And so to be okay with the scale going in the other direction has taken a lot of mental work.
Yeah.
And again, back to Mike. Mike is like, I think he just psychically knows like the words I need to hear some days, because I was really upset about it one day, and I said something about the scale, and he looked at me and he said, what matters to you more right now, the number on the scale or the number on the barbell over there? And I said, well, I'm trying to strength train the number on the barbell. And he goes, then let it go lift, like just go get your work done. And it was like, I talk sometimes about sacrifice. You know, when I was in stunts, I had to sacrifice a lot, and ultimately hit a wall where I was not willing to sacrifice anymore for that dream. I was not willing to sacrifice having a family.
Right.
I was not willing to sacrifice being away from my husband. And so I think whenever you have a goal or a dream, you're going to have to give something up. You're going to have to shift. Something's going to have to change. And so it was sort of like looking that in the face and going like, if it's really my goal to get stronger, if it's really my goal to get good at strongman, I got to let go of this idea that six-pack abs are the thing right now.
Right.
You know, I got to be okay with that. And I've got to be okay with loving who I am and not punishing myself for gaining weight, but celebrating that I'm making progress towards my goals.
Yeah.
And it is not okay in this culture not to celebrate gaining weight. That's not a thing we do. And so it's been an interesting mindset shift. And I always say it's not when I'm in here and I'm looking at the barbell and I'm going, okay, this is what I've decided I want right now. But when you're home and you're trying to pull on your jeans and they're like a little tighter in the legs and you're thinking, oh my gosh, do I need to buy a size up of jeans? Oh no, what am I doing? Like, what if I don't like my body anymore? What if I don't do as well as I think that I want to do, and I don't reach my goals, and I've gained all this weight? And so it has been a really interesting journey. But I'm getting there, and you find other things, like you turn in the mirror and you're like, whoa, what is that muscle there? Or, oh my gosh, this trap is growing, or this kind of thing. So it's been fun finding new things and not just focusing on the six-pack, and not treating food like a punishment or exercise as a punishment anymore. And I think I'm developing a much healthier mindset just about my body image and celebrating what it can do, and loving exercise and doing it for the love and not to punish myself to be thinner or to be better. I've pushed myself to the point of injury. I've pushed myself to the point of misery so many times in my life, and to now be at the point where it's like, no, you know what? Slow and steady wins the race. I'm just going to come in and do my work. I'm going to see my gradual progress, and my body's I'm going to give it what it needs, and relax a little bit, not put all that pressure on myself. It's kind of cool.
Yeah. Well, and it just highlights the reality that body weight is only one measure of what's happening, right? And like you said, going back to this idea, like there's this idea that the only reason, it's especially put on women, that the only reason women exercise is to control their body weight. The only reason women watch what they eat is because they want to lose weight, right? And there's so many other reasons, not that those aren't valid reasons, but there's so many other reasons to do the things that you're committing to. And looking at how you feel, looking at how you perform are really important measures. And you have to go back to what Mike said, what are you looking for? Are you looking for a number on the scale, or are you looking for a number on the barbell? Are you looking for how you perform in an upcoming competition or something like that? And again, not that one is better than the other, but which one is really driving you? And then you have to put your energy into that thing that's driving you. If it's the number on the scale, well, we can help you with that, right? But that's a different process. If it's the number on the barbell, we can help you with that. but it's a different process.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, no, I think that's a really good point. And ultimately, it's about having goals and having a focus and knowing what that is and being able to do what it takes. I mean, it is just as much work to have the nutrition and come in and do the things that you need to do to lose weight on the scale. It is just as much work to come in and lift and make sure you're eating enough and all those different things. So no matter what you do, you need that commitment. And I think that's one of the nice things about sort of the CrossFit community and mentality is it's very goal driven, and you get people in here who are very, very focused, but on different things. I mean, we have somebody who just did like an Ironman or something like that.
Yep.
And he trained here.
Yeah.
And then you have people who train for Olympic lifting or powerlifting, or people who are doing CrossFit and going and competing. We have 2 athletes, going to the qualifiers for the games. I mean, the goals run the gamut. And then you just have the people who are recovering from injury or just want a healthy lifestyle or want to play with their grandkids. Or,
exactly.
I mean, whatever your goal is, if you are vocal, I think, about it, and you let your community know, and especially here, they're going to step up and support you, and the coaches here are going to help you towards your goals. If you don't want to bulk, don't bulk. Like, we have so many people here who that is just not even on their radar. But I would also say, and I would point out, we have a lot of very skilled athletes who have done cycles of trying to put on muscle. I don't know that Carol tried to put on muscle, but she posted actually, I want to say it was like 8 or 9 months ago, 2 pictures of her at the same body weight, and one of them was with more muscle and one of it was less. And that was really kind of an inspiring moment of like, the scale is really the least important thing here. It really is. And you can make progress, and maybe that number doesn't change at all. And maybe you just got to learn to let go of that a little bit. But whatever your goal is, you're going to find the support that you need. People here are so supportive. Like, I'm my weirdo self carrying a ball around or pulling a sled or whatever it is, and they'll, just cheer me on and give me encouragement, just like anybody else working on any other goal. I don't know. It's pretty awesome.
Well, speaking of goals, what's next? So you've just completed a training cycle. What are you training toward?
So I've got 3 strongman competitions coming up this spring.
Okay.
There's one in February down at Dungeon in Bremerton.
Okay.
I've got one in Oregon in March, and then my rematch against Viking Fest in May. So
it's going to be a busy spring for you. Late winter and spring are going to be quite busy.
And the training has changed a lot too. So the first block was very strength focused. Again, I was building that really good foundation, and now it's a lot of event training, and I kind of lost a little bit of my lungs focusing so much on strength. I haven't been doing as much cardio. I tried to get at least 1 or 2 WODs in a week, even when I was really deep in the strength stuff, but it's just not the same as when you're, doing the cardio all the time. So it's a much more of a mix now, a lot of sprints and a lot of attempting to kind of mimic the events that I'll have in the competition here.
Do you know the events?
Yes.
Okay,
yeah,
good.
It's kind of like CrossFit that way, where not all competitions, but a lot of times in advance, and you can practice, and you know what the weights are going to be. I guess you could kind of even pick which events you wanted to do, kind of based around. I don't know if I would choose a keg toss again anytime soon. That didn't go so well for me last time. So that's kind of nice that you can kind of plan, and we don't have all the stuff in here, but we can mimic a lot of, creative coaches can find a lot of ways to do kind of the same.
All right, so Bremerton, February. But February what?
22nd.
February 22nd.
Yes.
At Dungeon.
Fitness.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully we get a big crew to come out and cheer you on.
Oh, that would be great.
Watching a strongman event is unlike watching any other type of event. So
it's fun, and it's very similar to the CrossFit community in that everybody is really kind and fun and welcoming. You see like these huge dudes walking around, but they're super nice, and it's kind of, I feel like, a newer sport. I mean, strongman itself has been around as long as people have been heaving rocks, but as a sport, women are fairly new to the sport, and I feel like it's really picking up. So it's an interesting environment to be in, but I don't know, it's pretty cool. I'm excited.
Cool. Well, we look forward to watching you as you progress in your journey. And then also looking forward to seeing how you do in your upcoming competitions.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you for joining us here today. So keep your eyes out for more KCF Conversations coming up in the future. Thanks for watching this one, and we'll see you again soon.